For more Magic the Gathering resources, check out my friends at paperchampion.net and Kitchen Table MTG.
Okay, so I'm going to start with my black picks for today, and like these are just the initial picks. Some are going to be good, most I think will be okay, but I think we're just going to start with this, and then we're going to pare them down. So let's get started right away. So we're going to start off with Vault Scourge. Okay, so 1/1 for 2 with lifelink and flying. Innocent Blood is basically sacrificing. It's just great for, and it's each player has to sacrifice a creature, so that's pretty good. Chainer's Edict is a staple in Pauper, and so I thought it might go well in Peasant. Liliana Spectre, so has an ETB enter the battlefield trigger for opponent discards a card. It's still a 2/1 for 3 flyer. Dismember is just straight up removal. Smallpox is just a huge board disruptor. So each player loses a life, discards a card, sacrifices a creature, then sacks a land. So that's, just disturbs the whole board. Okay, Doomblade is just, again, removal. Grey Merchant is another superstar. That's almost certainly an include. Okay, now Tyrant's Choice is a Will of the Council card from Conspiracy. Basically, again, I want to encourage the politics in the game, so I think that might be a good one. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit closer here. And that's terrible. Alright, and let me just adjust the lighting here so it's not, so I don't have so much reflection. Alright, there we go. Bite of the Black Rose is another Will of the Council card. Okay, so starting with you, each player votes for Sickness or Psychosis. If Sickness gets more votes, creatures your opponent's control get -2/-2 to end their turn. If Psychosis gets more votes, every player discards 2 cards. Alright, this one I'm not sure, because it's good late game, but or good early game, but not so good late game. Skeletal Scrying, okay, just basically card draw. Another Liliana Spectre, I'll take that out. Reckless Spite, okay, destroy 2 target non-black creatures, so just straight up removal again. Unhallowed Pack. So this one you can enchant an opponent's creature, and when it dies, basically it returns to the battlefield under your control. So it's a way of stealing your opponent's creatures. Okay. Alright, Wake Dancer. Okay, it's a 2/2 for 3. When it enters the battlefield, if a creature died this turn, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield, so it fits with their tokens. Typhoid Rats is a 1/1 for 1 with Death Touch, similar to the green. We had a similar green card where these early Death Touchers are pretty good. Choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard, sacrifice a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. That's Victimize. That could be really, really strong. Okay, so that's the Graveyard Recursion. Okay, Borrowed Malevolence. So this one is, you can choose one or the other or both. So target creature gets +1/+1, or target creature gets -1/-1. So that's a nice shenanigans there. Liliana's Elite. Okay, so basically it just grows as your creatures die. Ghoulsteed. Discard 2 cards, return Ghoulsteed from your graveyard to the battlefield tapped. Okay, so Cemetery Recruitment. Again, return is more just graveyard recursion. Haunted Dead. It's put a 1/1 white spirit token, or so when it enters the battlefield, it comes with a token, and then you can return it to the battlefield tapped again. So again, another graveyard recursion one. Lawless Broker. So when this one dies, put a +1/+1 counter on a creature you control, so fits with our counters. So all of these are just extra value for what they are. They're not, not just vanilla cards. So Merciless Resolve. Okay. Murder. Just removal. Sengir Vampire. So whenever it deals, whenever a creature that is dealt damage by a Sengir Vampire dies, you put a +1/+1 counter. So he kind of grows, and he's got flying. So 4/4 flying for 4 or for 5 is pretty good. Vampire Nighthawk is almost like one of the best 3-drop black cards. You pretty much have to have him. Flying, Death Touch, Lifelink. Okay, so Diabolic Tutor, I'm not sure about. I'm not sure how many people would pick this, but it's an okay card. Harsh Scrutiny. Okay, basically this is a discard card. Weaponcraft Enthusiast. Okay, so it just fabricates, so it comes in with either counters or artifact servos. So that's, fits both of our themes pretty well. Oval Chase Daredevil. Now, when an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may return Oval Chase Daredevil from graveyard to your hand. So because we're running artifact, a lot of artifacts, this is actually a really great card. Because if it dies, you know, you can play like an artifact. No, it just has to enter the battlefield. So one of those like servos that comes in, enters the battlefield, you get this back to your hand, and basically you can keep recurring it over and over again. Foundry Screecher. Okay, again, fits with the artifacts. I think I have Lawless Broker already. I'll check when I enter it into Cube Tutor. Syndicate Trafficker. Okay, so sacrifice an artifact and put a counter on Syndicate Trafficker. Okay, so it fits again, counters. Nezumi Bone Reader. Now, this one's an interesting one, but it's more on a discard theme. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep that in there. Nezumi Grave Robber. This one actually could be okay, though. Removing a target card in an opponent's graveyard from the game. If no cards, then you can flip them, then it becomes a 4/2. So, and then put target creature card in a graveyard into play under your control for 5. So this one I think would be kind of an interesting pick, and it could be a really good one. Alright, Strands of Night. Okay, so sack a swamp, pay 2 life, put target creature card from your graveyard into play. So that's a way of cheating maybe a really strong card in. Underhanded Design. When an artifact enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay 1. Okay, if you do, each opponent loses 1 life, you gain 1 life, and then you can reuse it again to destroy target creature. So I really like these kinds of dual or multi-purpose cards. Fortuitous Find, so again a modal card, would choose one or both. So return target artifact card from the graveyard to your hand, or return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. That's, you know, that's value down. Subtle Strike, again a modal card. I think I actually talked about this one. If not, if it's a double, I'll just remove it later. Night Market Lookout. Okay, so when it becomes tapped, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. Now, it might be, if you have a way of tapping this guy without attacking, it's really, really good. But even not, like, paying a 1/1 for 1 is already good. You get to ping someone else and gain a life off of it. Even if it dies right away, it's still pretty good. Black Oak of Odunos. Okay, so it's a 0/5 defender. You can tap another untapped creature you control. Black Oak of Odunos gets +1/+1 till end of turn. Now, you see, like, that would actually work well with Night Market Lookout. Because when he becomes tapped, you don't actually have to tap him to activate the ability. So you could use the Black Oak to tap him, you know, to power the Black Oak, and then the Night Market Lookout keeps pinging your opponents. So that could actually be pretty good. Skeletal Scrying is basically extra card draw. Read the Bones, extra card draw. Deathwind, target creature gets -X/-X till end of turn. So just straight up removal again. Funeral Charm, I'm probably going to include because it's modal and has lots of options. Hymn to Turok, so discards 2 cards at random. Discarding cards at random, like, really hurts players. Like, you know, because they can't, you know, if you just choose 2 cards, you often have 2 duds that you could get rid of. But often, like, you can just get wrecked when you discard cards at random. So it can be a rough one. Retreat to Hagra. I've talked about this with the other colors. The landfall cycle is really good because it continues to generate value over time. Okay, and basically it's pinging your opponents. Target creature gets +1/+0 till end of turn, and Death Touch. So I think this is a very strong card. Nezumi Bone Reader. I think I actually had this earlier, but I don't think it's going to be an include. Tragic Slip. Target creature gets -1/-1 till end of turn, and -13/-13 if a creature died. So that could actually be pretty good. Murder, I think I had that already. Devour Flesh, so target player sacks a creature. That actually gets rid of around hexproof. You know, it's just more removal. Marsh Mist Titan. This is kind of a bomb. Costs X less to cast, where X is your devotion to black. So, like, if you're going mono black, this could actually be a huge pick. Like, you could actually cast this, like, ridiculously fast. You know, maybe even by turn 3. So, anyways. Zulaport Cutthroat's another one in that sort of like a pinger type thing. So I really like Zulaport Cutthroat. Ordeal of Erebos is basically along the lines of the counters, and then has a sacrifice and forces people to discard. Okay, Voracious Null. Okay, so sack another creature, put 2 counters on Voracious Null, activate this ability only time you could cast a sorcery. All right, so that could be okay. Vile Requiem. Okay, you can put a verse counter on Vile Requiem at the beginning of your upkeep, and then sacrifice Vile Requiem, destroy up to X target non-black creatures, where X is the number of verse counters on it. That's actually ridiculously good, almost OP, like where you could just, like, it doesn't even say like anything about power or toughness. You could just get to destroy that many creatures. So, if you can get this out, like, people are not going to like that. Nezumi Shortfang. I think I talked about this one, I believe. Or no, or maybe not. Anyways, I think this might be a good one. Again, it's causing discard, and then becomes a 3/3 creature where you can start pinging your opponents. Nezumi Cutthroat. This is a 2/1 for 2 with fear and can't block. So evasion, I don't know if this one will be included or not. Drainpipe Vermin. Okay, basically another discard outlet. I just included this one. It just caught my eye when I picked it, but I'm not sure if I would pick it. Stab Wound. I actually like Stab Wound because it's like a taxing thing on your opponent. Like if your opponent's low on life, if you put this on one of his creatures and he just can't get rid of it, and people, like, let's say you just put on one of his crappy creatures, he's got no way to sacrifice it or anything, no one blocks it, this could just ping him for damage every turn, and, basically, I can imagine one of your opponents might be begging you to kill his creature, or begging someone on the table to kill his creature to get rid of this. Alright, Cower in Fear. Creatures your opponent control get -1/-1 till end of turn, so that actually is very good against token strategies. Child of Night, 2/1 for 2 with lifelink is pretty good. Hypnotic Spectre, okay, whenever it damages an opponent, that opponent or that discards a card at random. This is rare, so we can't have that. Blood Baron, so sack another creature, Blood Baron gets +2/+2 to end of turn. Okay, Sengir Vampire I already talked about. I believe Doomblade I already talked about. Okay. Sewer Shambler. Okay, so 3 mana 2/1 with Swamp Walk and then Scavenge. So it fits the graveyard recursion theme and also fits the +1/+1 counter theme, so that one will probably be an include. Now, depending if we have rogues or not, I might put this in here. I love Una's Blackguard. I actually love the artwork on it. I love the card. But it's a 1/1 for 2, and whenever other rogues enter the battlefield and come into play, they come into play with +1/+1 counter on it. And then when a creature has a +1/+1 counter, it deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. This is actually a super powerful card, right? So, like, if you have a lot of rogues coming in, and you can, like, just force people to discard like crazy, so, and pumps them all up, like, it's awesome. Bone Splinters. Okay, just destroy target creature. Gurmag Angler, again, this is, like one of the best black cards and common cards ever, so pretty much have to include that one. Feast or Famine, so modal card, 4 mana, bury target non-black, non-artifact creature, put a zombie token into play, treat this token as a 2/2 black creature. Right, so, that's pretty good. So it's destruction, or you can just make a token out of it. Moan of the Unhallowed. Okay, you get 2 black zombies, and you can flash it back, so there's extra value there. Diregraph Ghoul enters the battlefield tap, but it's a 2/2 for 1, which is pretty good value. Ghoul Raiser. When Ghoul Raiser enters the battlefield, return a zombie card at random from your graveyard to your hand. Okay, so that could, again, being able to recur cards from your graveyard is actually pretty good. Village Cannibals, again, it depends if we're playing a lot of humans. So whenever another human creature dies, you put a +1/+1 counter. So this thing can possibly grow, especially if we have things that can generate human tokens. Okay, Victim of Night is just more removal. Okay, so here, for instance, is a flying fairy rogue that would go well with Una's Blackguard. So when it comes into play, you put 2 1/1 black goblin rogue creatures into play, sacrifice a goblin, and Marsh Flitter becomes a 3/3 till end of turn with flying. And if you have this with Una's Blackguard, when it deals combat damage, then it's going to also go and force your opponent to discard a card. Shrivel is all creatures, so this is like token removal. Pulse Tracker, so whenever it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life. That's a 1/1 for 1. It's good value. Rotten Heart Ghoul, when it dies, target player discards a card. So that could be okay. Rancid Rats. So with Skulk, it can't be blocked by creatures with greater power. So basically, it can only be blocked by another 1/1 or something like that. Has Death Touch. This one I'm not sure, because with Death Touch, you want to like basically try and like push damage through like big creatures or whatever. But it could be okay. I'm a big fan of Death Touch. So Gavany Unhallowed, when another creature you control dies, put a +1/+1 counter. Yeah, it fits the graveyard theme and also the +1/+1 counter theme in the deck. Dead Weight, okay, and just kind of a form of removal. Accursed Witch. Now, so spells your opponents cast that target Accursed Witch cost 1 less to cast. So basically, it's easier to target her. When Accursed Witch dies, return it to the battlefield transformed under your control and attach it to your opponent. So you transform it. So basically, it's easy to attack her or to remove her. But when she dies, you can flip it and you enchant that player. And I'm not sure if you can read this here. But enchant player, spells you cast that target enchanted player costs 1 less to cast. So then whoever kills you, you can put her on that, or whenever she dies, you could put her on a creature or on a player, and then basically it's just cheaper to attack that player all the time. And then at the beginning of the enchanted player's upkeep, that player loses 1 life and you gain 1 life. So it's basically a horrible curse that goes on whoever killed her. Alright, Deathmark is destroy target green or white, so just straight up removal. Tavern Swindler, pay 3 life. Flip a coin. I actually like that. Flip a coin. If you win the flip, you gain 6 life. But it's like repeatable, right? So like there's some people who would take that chance, and I kind of like that. Ultimate Price is more removal for monocolored creatures. Assassinate, destroy target tapped creature. Ruthless Ripper, again, a 1/1 for 1 Death Touch, but you can morph her. And when she turns face up, target player loses 2 life. So, that's a good value as well. Crypt Wrap, you can just pay X. You don't even have to tap. Crypt Wrap deals X damage to each player, creature, and player. Spend only black men in this way. That actually is super powerful. Like, basically, like, if you pay, like, 3... it deals X damage to each creature and each player. Oh, I see. It would destroy itself too. But still, that could be like a great form of removal. That's probably going to be a must include. Contaminated Ground. So just enchanting a land, turning into a swamp, and then basically anytime your opponent's land becomes tapped, its controller loses 2 life. So if you know that your opponent is really struggling, then like with their land, you could tap their land or enchant their land and force them to lose 2 life every time they tap it. Child of Night, I believe I talked about this one as well, and Accursed Witch, again, I already spoke about. Alright, those are my black picks, and you can see there's actually quite a few of them. Let me know what you think, and if there's other suggestions you might have, I'd be totally willing to hear them. Remember, the themes are going to be artifacts, graveyard recursion, +1/+1 counters, and tokens. Please check out the lists at CubeTutor. It's easier to check them out there than kind of pausing the video, but watch the video and then go check it out at CubeTutor. The link will be in the description. Anyways, look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.